I want to welcome all the participants to this meeting. This is a meeting on training the trainers on blended learning platform. I'm Professor Gabriel Adesina from the Department of Crop and Environmental Protection. We have been through this training before, and we need to share our experiences with all of us who are colleagues and some of our students who may be joining this teaching series. The topic before me today is to look at Netiquette and good communication and blended learning. I will share my screen with you now. Netiquette and good communication for blended learning is one of the lecture series that you'll be listening to from time to time. I believe that several lecturers will come into this series and will be teaching you some of those things that we need to take cognizance of as we engage our students in a blended learning environment. What is blended learning? It's important for us to have a grasp of the concept of blended learning. It's a style of education in which students learn by electronics and online medium, and in combination with face-to-face teaching that we have been used to. And I believe that in one word, or technically we can call it an hybrid way of imparting knowledge to the students. And if you want to have a definition of what is happening, you can say blended learning is a concept that includes framing and teaching, learning process that incorporates both face-to-face teaching and teaching supported by ICT. Blended learning incorporates direct instructions, indirect instructions, collaborative teaching, individualized computer-assisted learning. This is the age that we do not want to limit learning process as a result of localization. So the importance of blended learning cannot be overemphasized in the world that the situation is calling for it every day. If you look at this picture on your screen, you will discover that we have a traditional training which involves teachers standing before the students, teaching them one or two things that they do not know. And we have also the e-platform, whereby students can learn from wherever they are all over the globe through electronic means and the use of internet. The sandwich between these two methods of teaching and learning is what is referred to as blended learning. It is obvious that it's a sandwich between the classroom teaching and the e-learning platform. And if you grasp this understanding, it will enhance and enable us to be able to pass the information that is necessary across within the time specified. With this mindset that we have grasped about blended learning, then let's look at what is Netiquette. Netiquette is made up of two words, the net and the etiquette. Netiquette does describe the rules of conduct for respectful and appropriate communication while we are online, while we are interacting either with colleagues, either with students, or with anybody online. So network is often referred to as etiquette for the internet. The term is a combination of network, the use of network, being online, and the rules of etiquette. It's defined as a set of rules that is appropriate for online behavior. In any society, in any gathering, there is an appropriate behavior that is expected. So online is not an exception. It's expected that when we're online, when we're engaging colleagues, when we are engaging students, when we are engaging business partners, there is an appropriate behavior that we all expected to put into place. Defiance from any of these Netiquette rules can be perceived as lack of courtesy. And when you lack courtesy, many things will be missing. Number one, you find it difficult to communicate effectively with your listeners. Number two, you find it difficult to work in group because many people will not be willing to work with somebody that lacks courtesy or somebody that will be rude in their approach to issues. So communication online is very different from communication in person. It cannot be presumed that all the students will know how to behave appropriately and converse efficiently in an online classroom environment. So it's important for us as lecturers, it's important for us as facilitators, it's important for us as somebody that will guide others to learn, to know the rules that are guiding online etiquette. So Netiquette rules are important as they encourage civil and well-mannered behavior online and prevent any misunderstanding from occurring. Because if we do not mind the way we speak, the way we act, the way we use our words, it can injure relationship. So these rules ensure that online classrooms is a respectable environment, it's a safe environment, it's a place where everyone can share their opinion and collaborate in an organized manner without disrespect to anybody, without without being rude to our colleagues and our friends or our students. It's important that we keep this at the back of our mind. In general, there is a need for us to grasp the basic understanding of web etiquette. Few core pillars are important for us to grasp. Among these four corners are still being subject to a lot of debates because some people will recognize it, some people will feel that, well, maybe it's not all that important. But generally, we have two considerations. We have consideration for the society and we have consideration for the business environment. In terms of having consideration with society, everybody that will use this method of teaching learning platform must understand that internet is an extension of the society. Internet isn't something that is coming from the blue. It is all of us that are interacting with each other physically that will still go online to interact with one another. So there is it's not a new dimension that we cannot grasp, but we must understand that it's just an extension of the society. We call it virtual environment where you will not be able to see those people that you're interacting with one-on-one. But it is possible that you see their picture. It's possible that you see their video. It's possible that, but one-on-one that you can touch them may not be possible. So we have to grasp that understanding. It's not just something that is in isolation. It's not in the cloud. Yes, you store your data in the cloud, but you still have a level of interaction that is an extension of society. Secondly, we must have an understanding also that the same standard that is obtainable in interacting with each other while we see each other face to face is also applicable to the online experience. The value system that are highly adored, the value system that are highly respected while you interact with each other without an online environment is still applicable to the online environment. For example, physically, you are not expected to be speaking foul languages to your students while you are in class. You cannot just speak any hate speech to somebody that you see one-on-one, or it's going to result into fracas. The same thing is applicable online. It's expected that when you are online, standard way of interacting with each other should be void of hate speech, should be void of religious bigotry, should be void of child exploitation, should be void of child pornography. Copyright violations is an important criminal offense, and any other forms of theft, maybe intellectual properties, it remains intact even online. So you cannot say because you're operating online or you are discussing with people online, you violate any of these While online, value around you, some good values like courtesy, kindness, openness, and treating others with the same respect we wish to receive should also be adhered to. We have to respect each other. We have to show kindness, even in our speech, in our interaction, in our words, in our typing, because sometimes we interact with other people online through typing messages. We have to understand that all of these should be put into consideration when we are going through online classroom. And furthermore, it's important for us to refuse to empower abuse or any harassment while online, accepting that the laws which are currently in place to protect the rights and dignities of citizens apply online also. We also needed to know that these laws are being updated every day so that it will contain any act of harassment, any act of abuse that may go online in the online environment. So any act of theft, harassment, bullying while online is still a criminal offense, and people can be taken to court. People can be disciplined. People can pay a huge price for any of the violations of this breach of human relations. So it's important for us to keep this in mind. And finally, under society, generally, we must have this understanding that we must acknowledge cultural differences. Cultural differences in terms of national boundaries, in terms of, upbringing, in terms of ethnic diversity. Cultural respect and tolerance should remain, even while we interact with each other online, while we discuss with our students, while we discuss with our colleagues, while we are in any online meeting. In the society generally, there is a need for everyone to acknowledge cultural differences. This requires finding a way to accept that the social values and norms of some netizens, that means the net citizens, will not be the social values and norms of all netizens. That is what is obtainable. For example, in Yoruba land, we must understand that we cannot impose our cultural values upon those people that are living in the northern part of the country. Or because you are a black man, what is acceptable as a cultural values in our setting here as a black people or as a people of color will not be binding completely on those people that are living in other part of the globe. So definitely it's important for us to keep this in mind and to know that we need to respect our cultural differences. In the same vein, for companies, for everyone that be using, the internet, even to interact with each other, there is a need to apply all the online ethics using Netiquette. And these online ethics include for companies to respect the privacy for all offline employees. Information should not be divulged. Private information should be kept secret, even for the online interactions. For the offline interactions, it should be respected. You cannot say because some of your employees were not online, then you use any bad language against them, or you divulge their privacy, the private things that you know about them online. It is tantamount to sanction. It is tantamount that even if that individual should get wind to court. And furthermore, we must also maintain transparency in information policies by taking action so that the consumers of our product as a company, we easily and quickly understand how the company is using their information and how they are protecting them from any harm, how they are protecting their companies, and how they provide their users with clear means of ownership and determination as to what is and isn't shared about them, which strengthen their relationship with that company. It's important for us to know that all of us, for example, we are bank customers. We are not expecting our banks to divulge our private information to all other people because it might result in losses. And this might also endanger the lives of the customers of such banks. So it's important for us to keep this in mind. This is a general thing, the broad way of taking seriously as to what is acceptable. Now to the main thing that we are discussing, good communications. What are the netiquettes? What are those things that are so important? Most especially during teaching and learning process between lecturers and students that intended to use blended learning. You know, the use of face-to-face classroom and the use of, internet or the use of the tech in vogue so as to pass good information or knowledge across to our students. The first thing that we must keep in mind when we are in any online classroom is that we must mute our microphone unless we are the one that is speaking. It's a respect for other people that are in that environment. We must be observant when we join any online sessions, and this must be passed across to our students. And even as lecturers or as facilitators, we must understand that we can be automatically muted by the convener of such meetings. But if not, individuals must make sure that they mute themselves, they mute their mic from their system, unless they're the one that is speaking. Why do we have to do this? This is important so that no one else in the meeting is disturbed. That is one. And there won't be any distraction from the environment where we are sitting down to be part of such meeting. For example, if you are in the home environment, if you did not mute your microphone, your family members will be talking in the neighboring rooms, and this will be interfering with the meeting. Maybe that was the time that you are discussing important things. It will be distracting to them. It will be distracting to members of those who are participating in such meetings. We must remember to let lecturers know beforehand before we talk as a student, and we must also give permissions to whoever that want to unmute their microphone to talk. This will allow coordination. This will allow everybody to be part of the meeting and not to be disturbed. But sometimes we have seen, I don't know if any of us have been part of online meeting before, where you see people that are in the online meeting and they are still playing stereo underground. This will be distracting to all other participants in such meeting. So this online classroom is not an exception. Students must be able to know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. It is still necessary to attend the meeting whenever you know that it's important for you to attend the meeting. Maybe the first thing you have to look for is to look for a quiet environment. Or before you are added to any meeting, you make sure that you give your comments to the chat section instead of just unmuting yourself anyhow. It's important. That's the first netiquette that we have to keep in mind as a teacher who is going to use this online method to sandwich our face-to-face classroom. Number two, we must understand also that when we are in the online meeting, we use respectful language. We use respectful language. We consider the online meeting and the audience when communicating. A casual conversation with friends is very different from respectful conversation. A casual conversation with colleagues is different from when you are addressing your students. A casual conversation is quite different from when students is to address lecturer in an online meeting. So whenever this meeting is coming up, when communicating either with lecturers or with peers, either by typing a message or through audio means, we must make sure that we know even how to type. Because sometimes in the online environment, using uppercase to type your message can be seen as being interrupted or being interpreted as being shouting, or it is to be considered as being rude. So you don't use uppercase to type all your messages. Another thing that you have to keep in mind in using respectful language is to avoid sarcasm that can be disrespectful, or something that is humor that is not called for in that meeting. You don't just use any of these humor or any of these emoticons to show any sign of that will be disrespectful to every other person that is in that meeting. It's a formal meeting. It's a meeting that should be coordinated very well. And furthermore, you must remember to use the kind of manners that we acknowledge that you appreciate other people in that meeting. Like if you want to talk, you say, please, can I hear my voice? Thank you. All of these words are necessary to keep us civil and to make us to to acknowledge that other people are respected in such meeting. You don't just come to the meeting or you don't want to contribute to the meeting and you begin to bully everybody around. Even if they could not bully you back, they might, at the other time, they might avoid your meeting or they might avoid your lecture. So we need to be civil. And finally, when we are speaking to other people during online class, we remember that to be civil. Be civil. Don't be abusive. Use respectful language. Even when you are talking to your class, to your students, you don't just dress them down anyhow. You don't just use words that will demean them. Be civil in your approach. The third important netiquette that we must obey, that we must keep even at the back of our mind is respecting others' privacy. Respecting other privacy, do not give your peer and lecturers personal details and information that you are giving out without any permission. For example, the lecturer is in the class or you are in the class. Any information that you have about those that are participating in that meeting, maybe your students or maybe other colleagues, anybody, you don't just dish it out to anybody without their permission. You have to respect their privacy. Either it may be their email, it may be their phone number, it may be anything. Before you divulge any private information to another person, even among your peers, you have to seek for approval. You have to take approval from the person that is concerned. It is also important that we do not share our own passwords, our own addresses, our own personal pictures without caution, because it can be used even to blackmail us. It can be used to defraud us, used to destroy our data. For example, if you have an important data about some studies and you just give it out anyhow, it can be used against you. So we need to be careful that when you are in an online meeting, when you are holding online classrooms, respect others' privacy. Remember, if it is on the internet, it is everywhere. It is an important thing. You remember anything you share on the internet, it is everywhere. So you have to be extremely careful. You have to be extremely careful not to allow any disturbance whatsoever. And furthermore, among these netiquettes that we need to take cognizance of is we must remember to be polite and respect others' idea and opinion. Politeness is one of the most important ingredients in good communication. In good discussions, do not assume that you are the only one that is correct, that other people were wrong. By the time you open your ears to hear other people's opinion, by the time you are humble enough to listen to other people contribute to the same topic, you may find out that you are the only one that is wrong. Is an aberration for you to just believe that your opinion is the right one. So when you are in an online meeting, even if you are the yoga, if you are the one that is coordinating everything, take time to respect others' opinion, other people's idea. Always make sure that you give room for robust discussion within the ambient environment of politeness and respect for others that does not agree or tally with your own. There are times that idea that does not tally with your own does not really mean that they are disagreeing with you completely, but it's about looking at the same issue from different facets, looking at the same issue from different perspectives, because there is always a need for team spirit. There is the team spirit. Once you allow team spirit to prevail, ability to work with others will be without confrontation. There won't be any reason for any sharp disagreement that will result into fracas. But by the time you come into a meeting, even in an online meeting, and you want to insist that your opinion is the best, your opinion is the right one, your opinion is everything, you can hardly find out that people will run away from you. Even your student may not want to be in your class because you didn't give them an idea. Everybody, we are not all robots. We allow people to say, to hear their view, to speak out of their opinion, so that we can have a robust discussion. In case in a class that you are highly opinionated and there is a need to break into groups, you realize people running away from your group. because people will find it difficult to work with you because you are highly opinionated and you don't want to listen to another people's opinion. So let's keep this at the back of our mind. And another important thing that we must keep at the back of mind, which is part of Netiquette, is for our ability as a teacher, for us to stay on topic. It's vital to stay on topic during an online class for all the content to be covered. If you are distracted, if you are not staying on topic, you are jumping from one place to the other, you need to know that the time allotted to you to interact with the students may be over. And the goal of that class may not be achieved. There is a specific time that has been allocated for that topics to be covered, to be explained to the student. So we must make sure that we are not get sidetracked when students are participating. Particularly, you are talking about a topic and they are bringing questions from another topic. You have to make sure that you bring them back to what you are doing. You bring them back to the focus of the discussion of the day. Sharing unnecessary information during a conversation can cause you to lose time, which will only just be a disadvantage because you may end up confusing the students rather than passing out information to them. If you are talking about certain topics, maybe for example in mathematics, you are talking about algebra, you are bringing in other topics entirely. The student may eventually be distracted and they may be confused and they may not even get anything out of the class. So anytime you are in an online class, make sure that you stay focused on the topics that you wanted to train and for that day. Try to only ask questions that are relevant to the current discussion so that people can gain better understanding as they go through the lectures, as they go through the classroom. There is often a chance for general questions at the end of the sessions. So consider keeping any question or comment that haven't been addressed to this point. When they ask questions that are all the questions, if you still have the time, you can address it, you can debate, but make sure that the goal set at the beginning of each class is achieved. And the only way and the best way by which you can achieve this goal is to stay on topic. Make sure that nothing gets you easily distracted, especially when you have so many students and everybody wants to contribute. If you are not careful, the time will be wasted, the goal of the class will not be achieved, and eventually it will be a loss either to the lecturer or to the student. And then finally, remember to apologize for an essential breach of etiquette. Be humble enough to say sorry if you breach any of the listed protocols in an online class environment. Ability to say sorry comes straight from a humble heart. Either you are the teacher, either you are the lecturer, either you are the HOD, either you are even if you are the president and you are holding an online meeting and you breach any of these protocols, it's not out of place for you to just say sorry. When you say this, it is a way of telling others that, yes, not all the time that you can be right, but when you made mistake, you are ready to correct that mistake. So whenever we cross that boundary, let us remember to say sorry. All of these actions will enhance learning to take place without any disturbance or distractions. And we are not only going to pass information across. Remember, as a teacher or as a facilitator, you are not only teaching the students about the new thing they did not know, but you are teaching them the rule of life. Part of the rule of life that's obtainable even in an online meeting is for us to abide by the netiquette. Etiquette, the rules that guide good communication in an online environment. I want to say thank you so much for your time, and I believe that you have a nice day with all other lecturers. God bless you.